Hello friends, welcome back to the C.Gars channel. Today I'm once again joined by Callie of TOR, so thank you for joining me today, Callie. Pleasure as always. We are going to be talking about another brand today under the TOR portfolio, and that is Caldwell. So Caldwell have this mass following, like a really loyal following. Could you tell us a little bit about the backstory of Caldwell and how they came about?
So Caldwell was founded in 2014, and I'm sure if anyone's on social media, they'll be aware of Robert Caldwell. He does some really, really funny videos, actually. He's worth going to have a stalk if you haven't already. But they've been around since 2014, and they like to pride themselves in being creative and innovative with their blends. So they use aged tobaccos to create blends that perhaps haven't been done before, but they're always blends that Robert himself will smoke. So you kind of know that if you're smoking a Caldwell cigar, it's past a lot of hoops to get here.
So 2014 was only 9 years ago, and it's incredible to see how they've created this mass following behind them. So obviously they've not been around long at all, but what makes them special? What makes them stand out from other brands?
It's funny, isn't it? Because 9 years is a long time, but not for the sort of brands that we sometimes talk about that have been around for hundreds of years and have all this heritage. But don't let it put you off. And I know the younger generation, they don't think like that. Perhaps they'll try it anyway. But perhaps some of the older generation might want to know a little bit more about the history. But I think the benefit to having someone that's slightly younger, perhaps, and is new-ish in the industry. I mean, Robert was working within the industry before this, but obviously Caldwell itself, I think they think outside the box. They are a bit more creative, like I said, a bit more risky. So they might try things that perhaps other people won't. And to be honest, judging by his whole Anastasia range, I think it's working. He's pulling it off.
100%. I mean, it's a beautiful cigar, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
Obviously, I think, like you said, with the younger generations, it's great to kind of evolve with the younger generations, and that's something that's really special because, like you said, a lot of the brands that are hundreds of years old may stick to certain traditions, whereas the newer brands like Caldwell would probably bring new traditions. Well,
exactly, yeah, and they, like I said, they're not afraid to experiment. They're not afraid to put something on the market that might fail. I mean, they're not failing, clearly, but they're just not afraid. So that, you know, they're up to trying stuff that's new and experimenting and working behind the scenes on how to sort of stand out. More importantly, brands that maybe have all this heritage and stuff, they hold their own within the market, but obviously new brands, they need to come in, and everything that they're releasing needs to grab the attention of someone, you know, new or someone that's discovered the brand. So I think it's cool, and I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. I mean, well done, Robert. You've done a fantastic job, and wish you luck in the future. So today we are sampling the Anastasia Caspia. Now, the Anastasia Igor, that was certainly well received, and so much so that I believe that Caldwell struggled to keep up demand, right?
Yeah, so I caught up with Robert earlier this year actually, and we were talking about the whole Anastasia range, including all of the previous blends. So he's had a blue blend, a green blend, this is the yellow blend, so they've got different coloured bands on, and they also had a white blend, which is like a limited edition, which then led on to the yellow band. So he said when he brought out the blue, he was trying to sell it in America, and it sold and it done well, but like it wasn't a world beater cigar, you know, it done okay. And then he brought out the green, so he changed things up slightly, and again it was a bit more popular and people started to, you know, recognise it. And then as he was blending the yellow, everyone in the US went crazy for the blue, like they wanted more. Obviously it had all gone because each batch he does has a different band on, but they desperately wanted more of the blue, and it became like a thing where people are like, have you got some? And some people have kept some for aging and all that sort of stuff. So when he brought the yellow one out, obviously people were really keen straight away to get their hands on it. So every sort of Anastasia he's brought out has now become sort of almost like a collector's item in a way, because people know that they're kind of like limited batches. So yeah, I mean, he came over last year and this year, but last year when he came over, he brought some of the yellow over just for his own personal smokes. And he kept giving them out to different people, so we'd visit retailers and he'd be like, try this, try this. He was gauging the market. And a few of us from TOR got hold of them, fell in love with them, and then we were like, when are we getting them, when are we getting them? And he's like, wait a minute, like these are just my own stuff. And then, yeah, he came over this year and was like, here you go, and we were like, yes.
That's great.
So they really have been well received, and people are just desperate to get hold of them. So I don't know what the next colour will be, but I'm sure they'll already have a following.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. And on behalf of the UK market, thank you guys for really demanding them, I guess, because they're really good. So what's the blend in the cigar?
So the blend is a secret.
Right.
I'll let Robert tell you the blend if you can get hold of him.
Okay.
But what we do know is from the Dominican, and like I said, it will be well-aged, rare tobaccos. He doesn't sort of buy in bulk like a lot of a particular leaf. So this will be a blend that he's experimented with and worked out from little boutique blends, and he'd have created something. I mean, I'm sure this is like months in work, but yeah, I can't tell you what the actual blend is. I'll leave it up to you to stalk Robert and find out.
I mean, some things are better left unsaid.
True. It doesn't make a difference what it is, it's just good.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it makes it stand out. It's like a secret, like KFC's chicken recipe.
Yeah, I know.
So,
people still try and find out, but we still don't know what it is, right?
I know.
And Big Mac sauce.
Yeah, true that. So what can people expect in terms of flavour and body?
I find it quite nice and smooth. I don't find it overly spicy. I know we have different palates though. So like the last cigar we done, I didn't find spicy, but you did. But I haven't found anything spicy about this at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I just think it's really easy. I'd probably, for me, say it was like a medium sort of strength. Yeah, I'm just finding it really, really easy to smoke. What are you're more experimental with your flavours, so.
I mean, for me, it started off really sweet, kind of like a caramel.
Okay, yeah.
Sweetness to it, a little bit of oakiness, and now as I've come to the middle third of the cigar, I'm getting more of the oakiness. That caramel sort of sweetness has died down a little bit, but now a little bit of citrus, which is really nice. But there's a really nice complexity to it. It's not too complex, but it's not too light.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It is full of flavour, but it's not overpowering and also not boring, I think is what you kind of mean. It's not plain. You know, I'm picking up different hints, but I get the whole caramel thing actually, like a dark caramel flavour. Yeah, you're far better with your descriptions than I am. I'm just like, yeah, it's great. I could imagine, to be honest, I would be able to smoke this in the morning, you know, with a coffee. It's not anything too heavy for me. I've got a can of Coke. I also like it with sweet. I think it's quite nice, but maybe some chocolate would be good. Yeah,
I think maybe a wine as well.
Okay.
Like a red wine.
I'm not a wine drinker, but I'll leave that to you.
No.
I don't know my wines.
But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful blend, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like it. And actually, I've got the Anastasia. What colour is it? I can't remember what one I've got in my humidor, but the Lancero.
Okay, yeah.
The Vitola, and I've kept it there, and I really want to try it, but I've literally got one. So like every time it's like a nice day, and I think, oh, today I'm going to smoke that, and then like, oh, but then I've lost it, and I've heard so much, like raving good reviews about it that now I'm like, I want to smoke it, but I also don't, because then it'll be over. And now again, you've got my other one of this, and this is all gone.
Well, thank you, much appreciated.
No problem.
So what can we expect in future from Caldwell?
I think very much of the same, and I know that sounds boring, but the same at the minute is just fantastic. I should imagine there's probably more Anastasias to come. Yeah. I know he likes to experiment with cigars that aren't sort of too big and too heavy. Like, you know, when I spoke to him earlier this year, he also mentioned that there was a big phase at one point, especially in the US, where it's like the bigger cigars the better, like massively wide, huge, big cigars make you look really cool.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll make you look really good, and they'd be huge. But he's kind of ventured back the other way, so he's got a lot of Lancero Vitolas. This wasn't an overly, I think this was 46 by 5.
Like a Petite Corona?
Yeah, so I think this sort of size is coming back, and that's something that Caldwell is bringing in all the time, because he enjoys the Lancero, not afraid to say it, whereas some people might be like, no, I want a massive, great big cigar. So he likes to experiment with the sizes as well as the blends, which I think is really cool, rather than just kind of sticking to the same thing. Yeah,
100%, and I think that it's the best time of year for it as well, because obviously it's colder now, so people aren't going to be outside enjoying cigars for as long.
Yeah.
But yeah, perfect timing really.
We can just hope for another hot summer next year, and then we didn't really get one this year, did we? It wasn't really hot. Last 2 years it's been really hot.
Yeah.
Not this year.
No. Although probably because we were working the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. We're indoors.
We don't notice it.
Yeah,
we're in the shade.
Exactly, yeah. But no, this is a nice size. Like, we'd sort of lit it before we started the conversation, and we're going through it, and it's nice. But we're lucky we can be sat in the
of course
in here.
Yeah,
so.
That's also why events are great as well.
Yeah.
And so if you guys ever want to come to any events, you can check them out on our website. And I'm sure that Callie, you will probably be attending many of them as well.
At the next one.
Yeah, so Callie's going to be here at the next Norfolk one on December 6th, I believe. 7th. Good memory, I was testing you.
One of us will have it right.
But that will be the Oliva auction selection, I believe, which will be interesting, wouldn't it? And then I think we're going to be pairing some wines with that too.
Nice.
So yeah,
My chance to try some wines.
Of course, yeah.
There you go.
Wonderful Southern Italian wine.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I think there's nothing left to do other than sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the cigars. But Callie, thank you so much for joining us today. Always a pleasure to have you on the channel. And thank you guys for watching. If you want to stay tuned, subscribe and follow us on Rumble. And until next time, stay safe and happy herfing. Peace.